Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Facts. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red and blue, purple light, friends. Facts. You can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. We gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you, and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Yes, indeed, family. Peace, love, and light to the family. Peace, love, and light. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Melanin Mondays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar, and I am joined by my co-host, none other than CRUMB TV. Peace to the God.
Peace, Almighty. How are you?
All is well. All is well. You know what I mean? On this Labor Day 2024, you out here being very laborious, young man. This is your third show today, a triple header.
All facts. It's only Labor Day for those who have a job.
That's right. That's right. You out here working. I really appreciate that. You know, making content, you know, holding down the airwaves, feeding the people who do have jobs and, you know, have that day off where they could relax and put their feet up. And it's only right that they get fed the information, these downloads and whatnot, to get them right for the beginning of this month, leading into the beginning of this week. We like to call it a strong and whatnot. So peace, love, and light to everybody in the building. Shout out to all of the family and whatnot. Tonight we have a very powerful show. Okay, in the spirit of informing the family, in the spirit of keeping the information fresh and new. Okay, we're going to be diving into a topic that a question that we're posing: are the Moors being targeted by law enforcement? And we'll get to that. We will get to that. You know, we don't want anybody to be confused as to what's going on and whatnot. So we're going to build on that. And we're going to build on some other things and whatnot. But let us do the roll call. Let's see who is in the building and let's see where y'all tapping in from. All right. Shout out to the family in the building. All right. We have both of our platforms together tonight, CRUMB TV and Know the Ledger 444. We are all connected. You know what I'm saying? Digital convergence is what we call it. So shout out to the CRUMB TV family. Shout out to the KTL family. Brat. All right. So we have Seminole. We got Norfolk, VA in the building. Shout out to Norfolk. We have Seminole, Florida, the land of the flowers and the land of the hidden mounds. All right. Salute to y'all. Virgin Islands. All right. Salute to the Virgin Islands. Salute to San Francisco in the building, California. You know what I'm talking about? The BX. Salute to the BX. Salute to Brooklyn. All right. Shout out to Brooklyn. You dig? Shout out to the ATL in Connecticut. Shout out to San Francisco, Canada. T. Dot Singapore. You dig? Beantown, Los Angeles in the building. Singapore, Massachusetts. We got Indianapolis. Yes. Ireland in the building. So we got we got a global affair. We got London in the building. You know what I mean? So it's always good to do the roll call to know how far and how vast, you know what I mean, the connection is, you know what I'm saying? So the globe is tapped in, you know what I mean? So shout out to everybody around the world tapping in tonight to hear this cloth talk. You dig? So yes, indeed. All right, let's see who else is in the building. Phoenix is in the building. All right, shout out to Phoenix. Shout out to Buffalo. Shout out to Mississippi. Shout out to Miami. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, we here, man. Everybody in the building is good to see y'all. Salute to everybody. Yes, indeed. Shout out, yes, Miami, Gary, you know what I'm saying? Duval, Cleveland stand up. Salute to Cleveland. You smell me? South Sacramento. Okay. All right, Cleveland is checking in. First and foremost, I want to say shout out to everybody that pulled up to the first annual Double Dutch Day that we had in Atlanta in the West End at Wadada. Okay, if you're not familiar with Wadada, that is a health food spot out here in the A. And we linked up, me, Blue Pill, Black Magic 363, King Simon, and a few others. And we put on a celebration for our family. Let me take you to the clip and just give you some insight as to what was going down this Saturn Day. It was magical. All right. So we had the Double Dutch thing popping. Families was out there. The babies was out there. The ladies was out there. The brothers was out there. People were pulling up from all over the Carolinas, Tampa, you know, you name it, you know what I'm saying? Detroit, they came through from Detroit. So it was a lot of love. And yeah, we just keeping it community, you know what I mean? Because we use this word conscious community. We need to continue to do communal things, you know, get off of that phone, put that damn phone down and come outside, you know what I mean? Be face to face and flesh to flesh with the people who you consider to be your family or your friends and things of that nature. You know what I mean? We have to have more organic connections, you know, because that's what community is about. The babies need to know that the people care. You know what I'm saying? They don't just need to see you stuck in front of your phone or your tablet all day, and that's where your community exists. No, we are real life human beings who do real things. We got families and whatnot, and we got friends, and we like to party, and we like to socialize, eat food, break bread, and have a good time. So salute to everybody that pulled up. We appreciate you. You dig? Yeah. It was popping for what you saw. Yes. On Black Magic, we have the 3 hours of the stream. So you could go to Black Magic and you'll be able to tap in if you want to be a fly on the wall and just see the whole Double Dutch Day thing. I did not jump. Don't look for me jumping no Double Dutch. That's not what I do. You know what I'm talking about? That's for the ladies and a few of the brothers. You know what I'm saying? And they were out there. We had a blind man. This man is blind, cannot see. He walks with he walks with a walking stick. He was jumping rope. So if he jumping, he was like, he could almost put me to shame. I was like, shit, I might as well get out there and do a few skips or whatnot. But it was a beautiful thing. Salute to all of our people, man. You know what I mean? And salute to the community. And we will continue to do more things just like that, community-wise. So just stay in tune, stay in touch, and stay tapped in. So yeah. Yes, sir. You saw I was jumping off of cliffs in Puerto Rico. I mean, that, that's honorable right there. Jumping off the cliffs into the water. You know what I'm saying? I like that. That was some daredevil shit. But doing the double dutch thing, that's just not what I do. You know what I'm saying? But I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing everybody. It brought back a lot of memories. And it just showed me how just how magical a lot of people are. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a melanated thing. Last time I checked, you feel me? I don't know if they're in the suburbs doing double dutches and things of that nature. That's something we used to do before all of this materialism and superficiality took over. We were very simple. We played Skelly, we played marbles, we played jacks. You ever played jacks, Crumb? With the jacks in the hand, we used to play jacks. We did a little bit of firecrackers, all of that. Basketball, of course. You feel me? Handball, slap boxing. Yeah, we got to take it back to show the whippersnappers, the young whippersnappers. And the babies were very into these things. They were like, yo, they were into it. It took them a little while to get used to it, but they were definitely inspired. So we're going to do more of that. But let's get into this conversation tonight, my good brother. Over the past few days, there's been a lot of things going down. And there's a story that it didn't necessarily break into nationwide news. It didn't really take off like that. Maybe because this news cycle has a lot of they're focusing a lot on the selections and whatnot. And they're focusing a lot more on other things that they deem to be important, like the apartment complexes being taken over by the Venezuelans that in the what they call them, the Hells Angels, right? Riding down there to take over. How long does it take to ride to Colorado? I need to know. I had Googled and whatnot. I think, I don't know where they was coming from. I guess they was coming from Mexico or something, because it's like, when are y'all gonna arrive and do what the fuck y'all supposed to do? I mean, goddamn it, the suspense is killing me. They talk about, we riding to get the apartment back. Like, this is not New Jack City. This is not the Carter. This is propaganda. What the fuck are we doing? And for all of you melanated people, you should be ashamed of yourselves, because last time that I checked, if you ask anybody who's ever been behind the wall, the Hells Angels are the Aryan nation. They are totally against our people. So I'm not rooting for the Hells Angel. I'm rooting for the Venezuelans. If anything, I'm just different like that. I'm not gonna sit around and say, yeah, take them out. And man, listen, that's like saying, because it's Negroes taking over apartment complexes with machine guns as well. So when they knock off the Venezuelans, they might as well start cleaning up your hoods and knocking them dudes off as well. So we're in a quagmire right now. We're in somewhat of a quagmire where, the anti-heroes, and it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. There's so many landmines being laid right now, and people are unwillingly throwing their support behind things that they have no idea of. And it takes us, somebody said, patriotism. If that's how you see it, then it's going to be very easy in the future to sweep up a lot of our people into this quote unquote propaganda about patriotism, because I'm never standing with anybody from that side for anything. You know what I mean? That's that whole mentality of, when the aliens come, we're all going to become one unit and fight against them. No, we're not. No, we're not. I'm not going out like that. I'm not one of those people. I'm not doing that. I'm going to root for the aliens most than likely, because no, we're not. We're not doing that. The aliens are us. You understand? And these gangs, these Venezuelan gangs, they got a lot of their influence from the USA. They was watching New Jack City. They was watching Scarface. All of this violence, this hyper violence that you see in places like Mexico and stuff like that, when you really talk to them, They got influenced by our people, by the violence in America. They watch the movies and do the shit that the movies are doing, and they don't even know that that's some Hollywood type stuff. They take that for real life, you know. So we really have to have a conversation. I'm not looking for the Bloods and the Crips to protect me. I'm not looking for the Hells Angels to protect me. I'm looking for people in our community who are upstanding individuals who have some type of virtuosity to themselves to be our protectorates. Where is the quote unquote brothers and sisters who signed up for law enforcement and also who signed up for the armed services? Why do they not patrol our neighborhoods? Why do they not patrol our quote unquote? Why don't they try to rid our neighborhoods of the criminal element? Where are they at? Where is the people supporting the NOI and the FOI and the Hebrew Israelites and other groups of that nature before y'all start deriding the Hells Angels? When I saw that, I was like, our people have no type of tact whatsoever. Y'all are not going to win this game of chess because you don't even know when you're being played with. You can't even call propaganda from a mile away. You don't even know what you're looking at. So it's going to be very easy to wash you up. And, you know, those who know will just sit back and, you know, we'll just be observing and whatnot because, you know, you're helpless at this point. You don't have the reason why you would run and say the Hells Angels are patriots is because you don't have a reference point for any type of protectorate outside of that. And that's sad. That's a bad state of affairs. I was just watching a live. My brother, it was a brother who just came back from the Eastern Parkway in New York. They have a Caribbean festival every Labor Day. And he was like, you know, it got shot up today, right? It gets shot up a lot, right? You know, not every year, but it does get shot up. You know what I'm saying? So it got shot up and whatnot. And you know, now Brooklyn is gentrified. It's called blended Brooklyn. It's not the same Brooklyn that we grew up in. This is a Brooklyn where people are paying $4,000 to, you know, for rent. You know what I mean? This is a Brooklyn where the majority of the people in Brooklyn are not from New York. They are from different places, Minnesota, El Segundo. You know, you got big tech people. It's a, you know what I mean? So it's new money in Brooklyn. Everybody is blended. You know what I mean? You'll see people from all nationalities rocking with each other. So they're not necessarily, you know, they're changing the laws and they're like, yo, that West Indian shit, you know, before it used to last till like 7 o'clock. They shut it down today at 4 and people still got clapped up. And the brother was on a live and he was just like, yo, everything is trash now. The culture is trash. The streets is trash. America is trash. He said, I go around, the brother travels. He was like, I'll travel around the world and it's just trash places with different languages. He said he went to Paris. That was trash. You feel me? He's going to Colombia. That's trash. You feel me? So he was like, it's trash. This whole world has become a trash bin where people who remember things, who have a memory, who remember the times and whatnot, they're looking at this shit like this is fugazi. But for the younger generation who have grown up through the internet and shit like that, and they don't have a reference point, you know, they are wallowing in the trash, you know? And it's just a sad state of affairs of how far this culture has fallen. And I'm speaking about hip hop culture in particular. But of course, many of us are inside that bubble and it spills over. What is your takes on that, my good brother?
Yes, we are in a derelict society. It's aging. Even as young as we are, it's aging. And this is a global epidemic of what we're seeing where the current status quo can no longer sustain itself.
Yes. Yes. It's almost imploding upon itself. The word entropy comes to mind. the word entropy comes to mind. It's like, where do we go from here? You know, where do we go from here? This case has a lot of people upset. It's to my understanding, and we'll talk about the case. I don't want to jump into it and whatnot, and people are not necessarily familiar as to what I'm saying, right? But in my humble opinion, based off of how things are moving in this political arena, in the last month or two, from my observation, just being online and being inside of social places, I have not seen our people argue as much as they've been arguing in the past few months over this political theater. Okay. And they're arguing to the degree where they are willing to take this thing into a physical realm, meaning that they're willing to get physical over the red and the blue. This is really gangbanging through politics. I'm Team Trump. I'm Team Kamala. What you talking about? What you talking about? Right? And the tensions are running so high. Donald Trump, if people have not realized it, he is campaigning in sundown towns. Okay? The place where he got shot, allegedly, is a sundown town. Butler, Pennsylvania is a sundown town. 95% Caucasoid. Okay, that was a sundown town. The majority of the places where he's showing up are sundown towns. All right, he is rallying his base, he's rallying his troops. Allegedly, blood was shed, so somebody got to pay. Right, so once you spill blood, then all bets are off. It's a different type of movement that we're dealing with and whatnot. So the way that this thing is moving, the whole thing is like, yo, if he wins, then what? If she wins, then what? Okay. So the way that they're building this thing up, it looks like violence will meet America some way or another when this Jason month, when they finish this grand ritual of the Jason months, which ends in November. Okay. From your perspective, my good brother, have you been seeing the tensions rising, and have you been seeing, have you been feeling things from where you're at?
Oh yes, that's all wise, right, and exact. I wanted to share screen if I could, because that was an immaculate segue. If you look, the thing that just happened, not to jump into it, but
Yes.
it happened during August. And just to let the family know, there's this thing called Black August, if I could really quick. It's an annual commemoration and prison-based holiday to remember Black political prisoners, Black freedom struggles in the United States and beyond, and to highlight Black resistance against racial, colonial, and imperialist oppression. It takes place during the entire calendar month of August. Fast forward, let's step back in time. August 1st was Emancipation Day for Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Bermuda, and the list goes on, as you can see. August 2nd was Chokwe Lumumba, an early leader in the Black separatist organization Republic of New Africa, was born then.
Yes.
Debbie Sims, Africa, from the MOVE organization. Shout out to all the family out there in the tri-state. August 4th, Thomas Sankara. August 5th, Nelson Mandela. August 5th, this is just last year. Never forget, we just had the Montgomery bus boycott. I'm joking. It was the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl in Montgomery, Alabama. Shout out to Aquaman. He was out there. I remember that. August 7th, Jonathan P. Jackson. And the list goes on. So Mike Brown, that was in August. The Attica Prison Rebellion, that was in August. So the Watch Riot, that was in August.
George Jackson,
come on,
the legend.
That was in August. He transitioned. The Haitian Revolution, European Jesus, that was in August. So yeah, with that said, Fred Hampton, rest in power. he was born in August. So this is another long list of the things that have gone down in August. And as I go through the historicity, because what we're dealing with is not an isolated incident, you're going to see most of these things dealing with the Moors being targeted by law enforcement are going to be things that occurred in August. Most of them.
Yes. That's
I-
crazy. Black August, right? And we're not talking about the black where the Moors be slamming. Black August, okay? And one of the George Jackson, Blood in My Eyes, right? That stands out, right? This brother, his books are required reading for anybody who considers themselves to be traveling through the school of revolutionary thought. Okay, it is a must read. His brother put his life on his line in order to get his brother, his older brother, out of the grips of this beast. All right, out of the grips of the quote unquote purgatory. Right, he threw it all on the line. Started a whole movement and whatnot. All right. Shout out to all of the political prisoners out there. They are the ones who are completely forgotten about. They are the ones who have been glossed over, and you know, they are the ones who have been, you know, they to me, they're the ones who've been done the dirtiest because they put it all on the line for people just to run around and tell me how many friends they have that are the police. I don't care about your police friends. Okay, let's be clear. I don't care about you and your police friends. That has nothing to do with what we talking about, right? I care about the revolutionaries. That's who I stand with. And I don't stand on both sides of the fence. I done made my mind up, and my purpose and what I came here to do and what I'm here to do is to stand with the revolutionaries. All right. And if you decide that you want to put on a uniform and a badge, you're not a revolutionary. So I'm not standing with you. Bottom line, even if it's a family member. Let's just be clear. Let's get to that. And I don't have nothing against them, but I don't got nothing for them either. Let's get to that. When you put that suit on and you become a correctional officer, if they take your ass out in a line of duty, you signed up for that. That's your contract. The same way that if you put on a red flag or a blue flag or anything that you put on that's high risk, your ass knows what comes with that. You put on a fatigue and you ride out for Uncle Sam, well, you coming back and they're gonna blow them goddamn windpipes for you. That's a part of the game. If you become a revolutionary, that's what comes with the game. You're gonna spend 40 years in a box because that's how much love you have for your people. So, you know, they said the brother who just recently in Dallas, they lost his life. Condolences to him and his family. Condolences to him and his loved ones. Condolences to his community. The brother, it's been said, was a teacher. Okay. Ironically enough, you know, he will be a lesson. You know what I mean? He you know, his life will be a lesson now. Okay. And as a teacher, you know, I feel that he was probably even more effective in it because the community needs more teachers, less than they need more police. You know, we need more teachers. So I'm standing on what I'm standing on. I don't switch up, and I don't. And I hope the people who stand on what they stand on don't switch up either. Because if you stand on what you stand on that. But I know where I stand, and I'm standing with the revolutionaries. And the revolution is not to be televised. And it is not going to make people who are not revolutionary minded comfortable. It's supposed to make your ass uncomfortable. It's called a revolutionary. Okay, we're not here to conform, and we're not here to play games, and we're definitely not here to assimilate into this goddamn system. Okay, so that just happens to be a segment of people that live amongst us who look like us and whatnot, and it's just our mind state. So for the political prisoners who have been forgotten by the people who running around, y'all running around with African names, y'all running around with righteous names, y'all running around rapping righteously and all of that stuff. But here it is. You know, you're not living like it. You're not standing on the principles that people who are in the box stood on. You know what I mean? You're not living like a Sada Shakur. You're not living like Joe Jackson. You're cosplaying. You're wearing the dashiki from Amazon. Okay? You're taking the easy way route. You cosplaying. You playing dress up. It's a mind state. And when you adapt certain mind states, then certain other things have to fall to the side. Everybody loves to have it both ways. This shit is not cute. This thing called freedom fighting. It is not cute. It's sometimes unapologetic. Okay? So we have a situation that has arisen where a brother, a Moor, was sending out SOS signals through his social media over the course of months. This is not something that just happened. Over the course of months, he's been saying, I've been gang stalked. I'm being followed. He showed footage of a drone following him. He showed footage of a black van following him. He was paranoid. He put out a tweet to ask, is there any temple in Dallas, Texas that can help me? He did not receive that help. Okay? He did not receive that help. I was not there the day of the incident. The incident took place, if my memory serves me correct, on Thursdays. Do we have a clip of the news report by any chance, Crumb?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay.
Pull it up.
I've been getting inboxed over the last few months by multiple people who are being gang stalked, by multiple people who fear for their lives because they had the audacity to stand up against the quote unquote system. They filed paperwork. They went against the quote unquote system, and they've been and their family has ousted them. Their family turned their backs on them. Their loved ones turned their backs on them because they have the audacity to want to be different. Okay? Everybody don't live in New York. Everybody don't live in Atlanta, where you're surrounded by all of these different schools of thought and knowledge, and you can feel safe. There are people in small towns, and it's just them. And they feel targeted. They feel targeted. They feel like people are watching them. They feel like somebody is following them. They feel like their social media is being monitored. What do we have to say to that? Oh, nah, fam, that's all in your head. You know what I mean? Go drink some sea moss. It's going to be all right. What do we have to say to that? How do we help to alleviate our brothers and sisters who are out here, you know, doing what they do? I'm also being watched. I'm being watched on YouTube right now. You know what I'm talking about? I'm being watched on YouTube right now. When you do, it's called man know thyself. When you find out who you are, you'll realize they was watching you the minute you came out the womb, brother or sister. Okay? Like they show you in the movie Supercell. When you know who you are, and when you really go in and find out who you are ancestral wise, right? These people been known who you are. What the fuck? Tell me something that I don't know. Okay? Because I give them a show. I give them a show. So what you being watched and what? I'm a public figure. That's not saying anything. You know? That is not saying anything. So people will want to put you in some fear type of mentality because they're scared. That's called projection. Don't project your fears this way, please. Okay? So let's go ahead and see the news report.
You could just share a screen, please.
Now, NBC5 Investigates has gathered information about the suspect.
Our team spoke with Corey Cobb Bay's family, community members, and the police chief himself about the suspect and disturbing posts online. In a call with NBC5 Investigates, the mother of Corey Cobb Bay said she was stunned, saying, quote, "It's hard for me to believe he did any of the things they say he did," end quote. Cobb said a few nights ago her son was driving and said he believed he was being followed. NBC5 Investigates reviewed a Facebook page that appears to belong to Cobb Bay.
There's some demons, you see?
A video posted on that page one day ago shows him behind the wheel of a car.
In that black SUV, just following me for no reason.
Another video posted 4 days ago on Cobb Bay's apparent Facebook page shows him approaching the door of what appears to be an unmarked police car.
Is there any problem, officers? Nothing?
There was no real motivation here that seems apparent.
Tom Petrowski is an assistant professor of criminology at Tarleton State University who spent decades at the FBI. He looked through some of Cobb Bay's posts and says investigators will be looking at them too.
They'll do obviously a very robust deep dive into his online presence, his social media contacts, everywhere he's been on his computer, who he's talking to.
In a news conference, Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia said the department is investigating Cobb's online presence and beliefs.
Yes, there's evidence that he's part of this Moorish sovereign citizen. We're less than 24 hours into this, and so that will come out. We're scouring through his social media to see if we can find anything that's similar to some sort of type of manifesto.
The Southern Poverty Law Center says some members of the group have engaged in confrontations with law enforcement. It is not clear from the social media posts whether Cobb Bay viewed himself as a member of that or any other ideological group.
We built.
This is my thing. You are going to hear more about his social media following. You're going to hear more about his social media activities than you heard about the nigga that shot Trump, right? You're going to hear more about his affiliations than you heard about the Buffalo shooter who went ahead and carried out a massacre and left behind a manifesto, right? And he was in touch with the FBI, and he was all kind of things he was on 4chan and the dark web. You'll hear more about this more, right, than you will hear about them. Ask yourself, why is that? Ask yourself, why is that? Because you never hear anything about what group affiliation these shooters are in. You don't hear about who they're following. You don't hear about who. None of that is brought up. Okay, it's all swept under the rug. What in the world want to know? Who is this person who shot Trump in the air, allegedly? Who was he following? What websites was he visiting? Who was following him? You know, all of these things that you could easily just pull up in a forensics report or for the on the internet. But they're going to once again, it is a dog whistle for law enforcement. The minute they bring up, oh yeah, he's a sovereign, Moorish Science Temple. We've heard this before. This is a pattern. And the reason why we named this episode and we titled it the way that we was, because we want to point out a pattern. Y'all might not realize that there's a pattern. And to my understanding, the temples don't like to talk about these things. They like to tell you some other things, but they don't like to point out the fact that there's a pattern taking place and there's a targeting taking place through law enforcement to make this group seem like they are more than just paper terrorists, because they already labeled them paper terrorists. Once blood is shed, now you're an extremist group. Now you're an extremist group. And when you become an extremist group, that means whenever they come and get you, that's the SWAT team, that's U.S. Marshals, shoot on contact. Okay? Because they're going to put you in a special box, right? And then when they get you behind the wall, you going underneath the motherfucking jail with Dr. York in them. Okay? You can't just walk the yard as a regular inmate. Once you get tagged with these quote unquote, with these jackets. So there's a lot of propaganda taking place right now. The fact that the brother is wearing a fez, and the fact that the brother felt that he was being followed, and the fact that the brother decided that he wanted to defend himself or protect himself, because once again, I wasn't there. I have not seen the camera, because they do have body cam footage that has not been released, but they did release the footage where they shot him. They have quote unquote car. What's the car? The car camera. Okay. They have that footage, dashboard footage, where they unalived the good brother. Right. So I don't know what the story is. I'm only going dash cam footage. I'm only going by what the news is telling me. And we don't listen to what the news is telling us. So it's almost like if a brother had on a Jesus piece, right? And he got into a shootout. Do you hear them on the news saying somebody from the Ebenezer Baptist Church killed the police? Huh? Do you hear them say that? Do you hear them say a supporter of Nike is out here killing shit? No. So whatever his affiliation has nothing to do with the actions that he went out there to take, because there's nothing in the literature of the Moorish Science Temple of America that speaks to violence against law enforcement. That is not a part of the teachings. That is not what Noble Drew Ali taught. That's nothing. None of these newer teachers have been teaching that we brought multiple people on panels on this show. We brought the Moabites and we brought the Moors on the show to have conversations with the community, and nobody was talking about harming law enforcement. Okay? That is not in the doctrine. That is not in the teaching. That's not a Moorish thing. The fact that this man has a fez on, because once again, in these towns and in these cities, based off of the fact that you are going up against law enforcement and you're asking them to prove their jurisdiction and you're asking them for their badge number. And the brother, he was patrolling his neighborhood. They're in Oak Cliff, Dallas, Texas, very violent area. So he saw an unmarked vehicle sitting around, and he walked up to the vehicle and he asked them, is there a problem? Right? This is something that you do when you police your community and when you govern your mental, right? So law enforcement, the court clerks, and a lot of people, they have this arrogant way about themselves. They don't like to get questioned. They don't like the pushback. They just want an obedient nigga. So when you have the audacity to read them in their face and embarrass them, they begin to follow you. They begin to do weird things. They begin to stalk you. They will intimidate you and push you to a place where you are super paranoid, push you to an edge, and then say that you was in the wrong. Okay? Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Yes, the court clerks, because it's the clerks that will put the law enforcement on you after you file the paperwork and wash them up in the courts. That's when they start putting follows on you. That's when they start putting all of these goddamn these these tails on you. Okay? So, how do you feel about that, my good brother?
Yeah, that's all wise, right, and exact. When we operate in a way that is intelligent, when we operate in a way that is informed, this goes against what they have established in terms of our caricatures, our tropes. Eyes are working, boss. Eyes, that's the Negro they want, that looks down at his feet, that only knows a handful of words. And I I've always loved the name Know the Ledge. They said you were jumping off the ledge in Puerto Rico, right? Because he knows the ledge, he has the knowledge, and that is, I think it was Sir Francis Bacon said, knowledge is power. And a educated man, especially a melanated man, is probably one of their worst fears. So you couldn't be more all wise, right, and exact.
And they would intimidate those amongst us who are seeking knowledge of self, right? To be afraid to express it. Okay. They would have those of us who are walking in our upright position and whatnot to be somewhat intimidated to even express that, based off of the fact that people are out here being unalived for protecting themselves. But I'm here to let you know, don't ever let anything that the system or these people or these pilgrims, okay? Because when they get caught out there and when they get exposed and whatnot, they begin to become very ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Very ignorant, very negative, right? How soon we forget the sister Sandra Massey's name isn't even mentioned anymore. You see how distracted the people are? You see how fast the people forget about something that, they should, that they could, and they would have been paying more attention to if it were not an election year and this news cycle was not moving to the pace at which it's moving. Maybe that's the karma of her spirit. Maybe that's Harambe's code going out to say, you know what? That sister was done dirty and whatnot, and by law enforcement. So we live in this day and time where karma is coming around like a boomerang. And it's always our people who wind up getting the short end of the stick because we the ones wearing the badge and we the ones, standing there. We get the short end of the stick. So 2 lives were lost. And I definitely want to say that it was, it wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it. But this is in a line of many different incidents that have happened over the past few years. Okay. You say, we don't even know if Sonia Massey was real. I mean, qualify what you mean, qualify what you mean. You know what I'm talking about? So one of the first events that took place that caught the attention of the masses when it came to the Moors and law enforcement was Corin Gaines. How many people remember Corin Gaines? Somebody said a week after she died, a white woman, a Caucasian in Florida, killed 2 police and called them demons. Okay, called them demons. Who remembers Corin Gaines, who was unalived in front of her son 5 years old, I believe, from the police. Prior to them coming to her house to unalive her, she was recorded washing them up in a traffic stop, and they abducted her, and she was using, right? She was standing on her square, and she was utilizing the teachings of the MSTA, right, in that traffic stop. And they remembered who she was. And they basically was like, you know, we finna come and they went to serve a warrant at her house. But based off of the previous encounter, her profile was flagged. Okay? Her profile was flagged. And as a result of that, when they went to serve the warrant, instead of just serving the warrant in a regular type of way, they went looking for trouble. Okay? And she was unalived and forgotten about. Right? Then there was a brother, I believe, in St. Louis. This was around the time, I believe it was either the Freddie Gray protest, or it could have been, I don't think it was George Floyd. It was before George Floyd. This brother worked for FedEx or UPS. He had his uniform on, and I believe he had a fez on as well. He was also unalived by law enforcement. Okay. Somebody said that they were harassing her. The traffic stop was it was the hair that broke the camel's back, right? And then we have Mansour Ball Bay, right? And this is before Corinne Gaines. Okay. This happened before Corinne Gaines, right? And he was unalived. Okay. And then, they shot him in the back. More recently, we have a situation in Pittsburgh. Now, there was a Moor that went viral. He was an elder Moor. He had a flag outside of his truck, and he was driving in his truck, and he was basically reading the police their rights, and people were filming the video, and it went viral. He embarrassed the quote unquote police. It went super viral, right? It went more viral than like the Moors in Court video, when I think it hit World Star. Well, no, the Moors in Court, that broke the internet. That broke the internet, right? Because nobody never seen anything like that at that time. That broke the internet when breaking the internet wasn't even a thing. Yeah, he was washing them up from his truck window. Okay. He was washing them up from his truck window. They eventually caught up to the Moor in his home and had a shootout with him. Okay. His name is William Hardison. And they made him a movie. Okay. This is how they play Get Back. This is how they play Get Back. Yeah, they switched, they unalived him, and it was about 8 to 9 police departments that converged on his house and had a shootout. They said the shootout might have lasted 2 hours, and a total thousands of shots were fired, right? So they ritualistically lynched him. Okay. And you know how the police department works. They'll pass the pictures around inside of the department. You know what I mean? They basically pass the pictures around and be like, we got one. So a lot of the blowback that we began to see against the Moors, ironically began when Trump was in office, right? Because the way that he basically put it, he was basically like, yo, this shit is not going to happen on my watch. We're not going to allow law enforcement to get embarrassed like that. We're not going to allow these citizens to push back against the boys in the blue. They began to scrub the internet of all of those videos. You can't even find them anymore. Okay? You can't even find them anymore. Right? Oh, yes, you have the case of Otho Wallace from Infact, right? He didn't get unalived. He unalived a police officer, okay? And they basically have, I don't know what, I know he went on trial. I don't know what happened with the trial. I didn't follow it. What I do know is Grandmaster Jay from Infact got 7 years, and they got him in the feds. And you can't even mention Infact. Okay, scrub the internet completely of all of that footage. So I'm just putting these peculiar cases out there to inform our Moorish brethren, sistren, that there is, and I'm sure that I'm there's about 10 other cases that I have not even highlighted. Okay, that have to deal with law enforcement and them basically coming under it's an internal memo. It's not something that they're going to tell you on the surface. There's an internal memo amongst them that will target the Moors as enemy combatants and domestic terrorists. Okay, so you have to be very mindful of that and very aware of that these people have been targeting this group. And if Donald Trump, with the immunity that he's promised to grant the police, when he gets into office, we will begin to see this quote unquote behavior begin to ramp up again. All right. But it's definitely something that we have to point out and then ask questions about. I don't know if we'll receive the answers that we want, but we have to ask these questions. Okay. Kamala's definitely coming for the turbans and the fezzes. You know, Kamala's a prosecutor. Kamala's a cop. Okay. She is one of the top cops. She is not going to become commander in chief and not utilize her powers to make examples of anybody who they put a folder in front of her and say, well, these are because at this point, it's at the top of the list of law enforcement. When it comes to melanated people, they're not even worrying about the gangs. The gangs don't if they was worrying about the gangs wouldn't even be being signed to record labels for $1 million deals. The gangs wouldn't be. Do you know they flagged one of my videos on YouTube because I said kill, but I could watch endless hours. I could watch 48 hours in nonstop on YouTube of drill rappers killing each other. They'll show the bodies, they'll show the guns, they'll talk about everything going on. I know all of the beef that's going on in Philadelphia, Chicago, right? London. I know everything just by watching YouTube. They don't censor any of that. Trap Law, Boss, Trap, all of the white, all of the pink people, the pale people, Jake 1090, Trap Law. There's a whole bunch of them who are using horror porn because that's what it is. It's trauma porn, it's horror porn. Our young brothers, 15, 16, 14, 13, getting blown away in these hoods. But nobody has a problem with that. But the minute we talk about some stuff, oh, there's a problem. You're violating the terms of conditions. So they don't even want us to have these conversations, y'all. They don't even want us to bring the awareness to our people about some of the things. Yes, and Liar Cohen, right? The Israeli general who runs hip hop is now running YouTube, and he mandated that trap rap, mumble rap, and drill rap get to the front of the line. He gave them the stimulus check. Okay. So they are perpetuating this image of our people around the world, and the perpetuation of that image is only for law enforcement and other people to basically feel no type of way when it comes to unaliving these kids. Yes, drill rap is definitely the new MK Ultra. It has hypnotized women, men. Okay. It has hypnotized women and men who are not even drill rappers. What takes place in drill rap that we have to point out is the psyops of drill rap is that it increased the quote unquote, it pushed the conflict resolution out of the fucking window. What I mean by that is when I start listening to drill rap and I become infatuated with King Von and everybody from Chicago, where if you diss them on Twitter, you die. You have an argument with them, you die. You got beef with them, somebody got to die. So there's no conflict resolution in drill rap. So when you look at the records and whatnot now, road rage murders have skyrocketed, right? People who argue, instead of them fighting or knuckling up or talking it out, they're getting right to the shooting, okay? In the clubs, they're getting right to the shooting. They're not even fighting in the clubs anymore. They spraying the parking lot. Conflict resolution is what took a hit when drill culture took over, right? When deaf culture took over, conflict resolution went right out the window. I can't talk to you no more, homie. We can't talk this out. We got to bang it out. There could only be one. So in drill rap culture, there could only be one. Little Dirk cannot exist in a world where them niggas from Savannah are alive. Somebody got to go. They cannot exist. There can only be one. So they're in a perpetual battle for supremacy, but it's like Gladiator. Somebody got to die. Somebody got to die. And because teenagers, and I'm talking about tweens, my nigga, tweens, 11 and 12 and 13 and 14, this is their normal diet. This is their daily diet. Go look at the streams. These videos are doing 300 million, 30 million, 3 million. They got 3,000 retweets. So they are eating this up like breakfast and being programmed. It is MK Ultra. They are possessed. Yes, CRUMB. I'm sorry.
Not to get too far off, and it's totally not applicable. But if you were interested, I have a 3-minute video essay that I made.
Please, let's get into it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Black
Ladies
death
and gentlemen,
is one of the most marketed forms of media. Whether it's by the hands of police or another black person, Black death is trending. On one hand, melanated murders are reenacted and dramatized for primetime smut TV, while on the other hand, police shootings spark outrage and widespread protests under the highly publicized banner of Black Lives Matter. Drill rap has emerged as the soundtrack to a slew of unsolved shootings. It glorifies black-on-black mayhem endorsed by the music industry. They turn a blind eye to the destruction left in the wake of every Draco fired off in orchestra with the theme music of self-hate. Figures like King Von, Pop Smoke, and Julio Fulio have been some of drill's recent casualties. This is not entertainment. This is a form of warfare against our people. Music has always played a critical role in our culture. Our ancestors used it to summon rain in a drought. Under the Christian black codes, slaves were not allowed to play what was perceived as war drums. In early education, it's one of the first forms of teaching. For example, the ABCs are still learned to the tune of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Moreover, 120 to 123 beats per minute has the ability to cause a hypnotic trance-like state where a person is susceptible and impressionable. So what is MK Ultra exactly? MK Ultra is a covert CIA program that started in the early 1950s. The program specialized in mind control, including techniques such as hypnosis, sensory deprivation, drug administration, and other forms of psychological manipulation. MK Ultra was highly controversial due to its unethical practices, including experiments conducted on unwitting individuals, like kids who like to sing and dance. The program's existence was officially acknowledged in the 1970s during congressional investigations, revealing a range of disturbing activities conducted under its umbrella. Drill rap is the latest and greatest program currently running in the CIA's MK Ultra machine. If hip-hop is the black community's Catholic church, drill rap is the confessional booth, where every thief, drug dealer, and derelict recite their murders to the world, but without remorse or repentance. These confessions glorify a life of crime and violence. They are sworn to describe kill or be killed ideology over 808 drums. Record companies have weaponized drill to sabotage rap. They reject subgenres and lyrical diversity. Preferring rap devoid of topics and social commentary, they want a more ghastly gangster. To get airtime, the track has to fit their murderous agenda, one that shoots ops and raps about it right after. It invites a darker, more violent vibe with emphasis on authenticity of street life. You really smoke who you say you smoke. Drill rap is MK Ultra. We either take control of the narrative or the narrative will take control of us. Peace.
Masterful, masterful. Y'all clap it up for masterful. Clap it up for CRUMB. He is definitely bodying this video essay game. The editing is superb.
Just want to mention briefly to the listening audience and those who want to catch this later, the reason I started doing these video essays almost exclusively is because of Red Pillar. So thank you so much for the encouragement.
Of course. I encouraged you, but you delivered. You feel me? So it's a symbiotic type of thing. You know what I mean? Like we are definitely passing the rock to one another. I'm inspired. You got me ready to go in the lab and start cutting up some work right now and whatnot. That right there, those 3 minutes did more for the viewing audience and for a student in the audience who was on the fence about what exactly this thing is than a 2-hour conversation where they might just be like going through one end out the other. They're gonna remember that. Yeah. There's a clip that I want to play, and it's dealing with them people with the hook noses and whatnot. But I want to be careful because this YouTube, this thing is, you know what I mean? I want this video that we have right here to not be flagged and taken down. And the way that they have it these days, if you speak about the Jewish people, they got those robots, those algorithms, and they also have moist, zesty people in the audience that will hit the flag. You know what I mean? They have their agents and their bots out there. So we're gonna do that. We more than likely will have to go behind the Patreon or somewhere and start doing that, getting that information out. But I have some powerful information just dealing with the renaming of what they call, I don't even like the term, but people like to throw the term white supremacy around. And it's not white supremacy, it's Zionist supremacy. Okay. It's not white supremacy. They're not supreme. When you look at it, they don't run the money. They don't run the banks. They are not the power brokers. These people that you call white or white Anglo-Saxon Protestants or white people, they're literally they're under the deodorant. They are being held on a leash by another group of people. Facts. We've given them, and I told people, stop giving them all of that. Stop utilizing that word supremacy and white. What are you doing? You're forfeiting energy to trailer trash. You should be ashamed of yourself. They're not even built like that. They are golems. They are walk-ins. They are literally quote unquote bots. Why don't you do more research and tell us who's really running them? And this conflict in the Middle East over the past few months has revealed undoubtedly the hand of who we're dealing with. Do you know that there's a situation in the Ukraine right now? I mean, in Mali right now, in what they call the Sahel, in Francophone Africa, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, where they are going against the Ukrainians. What the hell does the Ukraine have to do with Africa? But a lot of people don't know the majority of the ethno group in Israel are the Ukrainians. Okay. Yes. One of the majority groups in Israel are Ukrainians. And the Ukrainians are getting kicked out of Africa right now because they went and they're supplying the Tuaregs, right? If all of the Moors out there, I'm sure you know who the Tuaregs are. Those are the people that you'll find in the desert that are wrapped up, you know what I mean? With the turbans, double turbans, they riding camels and whatnot. They're going up against the Malians, you know what I mean? And they're being supplied with weapons and with logistics by Ukrainians. And there was a situation out there where they unalived about 100 Russians, which are the Wagner group, which is a private military group. They unalived about 40 Malians and 100 Wagner group soldiers or mercenaries. And these are the Ukrainians. And the Africans are like, yo, y'all are working against, y'all are the ops. I'm going to play this video real quick to give people some insight as to what I'm talking about. And then we're going to wrap this up. Let's check this out.
To Africa, guys. The Russia-Ukraine war is spilling over into Africa. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. You see here, this is to do with Mali. So the article is that was Ukraine's role in the big Wagner defeat and own goal in Africa. Now, for people who are not aware, the Sahel region in Africa, which is Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, all those sort of countries, have been having a lot of trouble with insurgents, with terrorists. And a lot of these factions are coming from a group called the Tuareg, which is from southern Algeria, in the Sahara, in the desert, northern Mali, and so forth. And they've been fighting those guys. And Wagner, which is a Russian paramilitary group, have been supporting Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and so forth militarily. And they are Russian, you know, they're a Russian group, but theoretically, they're not part of the Russian military. They're supposed to be separate. So what has happened is the Wagner group, who've been fighting on behalf of Mali, the Ukrainian forces apparently, and this is what everybody has now confirmed, I guess, the case, gave strategic and logistical support and intelligence to the rebel forces of the Tuareg who were fighting in northern Mali. And that is what allowed them to essentially unalive almost 100 Wagner troops, which is the reason why you see this picture here, where they're paying tribute to them in Russia. Now, guys, this is actually very, very serious. This is a really, really serious situation. I mean, it's been ongoing. It's not like this just happened 2 seconds ago. I mean, this was this was weeks ago. But I heard about it, but I'm only now just finding out the details of the story, which is why I wanted to make this quick video. I'm going to do a proper video maybe at some point, but I wanted to make this quick video. But the Mali government's reaction to it, they've reacted. So what the Mali government have done, you know, Assimi Goïta is the president over there. They've cut diplomatic ties with Ukraine over the Wagner ambush. And what it was an ambush. So what they're saying is that the Ukrainian intelligence gave the Tuareg group intel so that they could ambush the Wagner troops. And that is how so many of them lost their lives in that thing. Now, obviously, officially, Ukraine shouldn't even be involved in anything going on in Africa. But there's a reason for this, and that's what I'm going to talk about right now. You see, guys, this is all tactical. The Ukrainians are basically proxy fighters for the West. I mean, that is what they are. Zelensky and all these sort of guys, right? The West have been supporting them. And you know, and I've told you this as well from the videos that you've watched, that France, USA, and so forth have lost a lot of ground in West Africa because of the coups in Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and so forth, and the formation of the Sahel Alliance. They've been looking for a way to claw back what they had. And I said, and listen, a lot of people believe this, that the terrorist groups that have been plaguing those countries are being funded and armed covertly by the West, because it doesn't make sense that these guys would be able to sustain themselves in the wilderness for this long, and these mighty Western military forces are unable to oust them, even with all their military bases in all of these African nations. No, the reason why is that you don't want to oust them. You want to keep them there because that validates your presence in those countries. Now, this is the crazy part about it for me. It is very obvious what is going on here because those countries cannot involve themselves in what is happening. And the justification that the Ukraine is, well, unofficially or officially, has for doing what they're doing in Africa with Wagner now is that they claim that they're going after war criminals because they're fighting a war with Russia in Ukraine. And they say that now they're going around the world trying to go after Russian war criminals. What business does the Ukraine have in Africa? Since when? This is very, very worrying because this means that they are Africa is now is now becoming a proxy battleground for Western conflict. That's what it's beginning, because for that many people to be unalived in one battle is a lot of people in one battle that is on African soil and isn't in the epicenter of the European conflict. So, you know, this stuff has to be monitored because the idea is that in my humble opinion, what they're trying to do is to destabilize the efforts of the Sahel Alliance and all those countries to create so much chaos in the Sahel region that they would require Western countries to go back in, either forcefully or willingly, on the behest of those governments. Listen, it's not even wrong. It's obvious that is what is going on. It is obvious. And I think it's very, very important that we keep tabs on this and that we make sure that we focus on these stories. Because, listen, I knew about this, but only now that I've actually started doing the proper investigation into who the Tuareg are, how long that the Mali government has been fighting them, where these people are coming from in Algeria, the insurgency issues. I know the Wagner group has been supporting Mali government and all these governments, but now the fact that Ukraine is now supporting the people that are against them. Like, I was watching a video. This is basically like the 2015 Syrian thing all over again, because Russia tends to support these kinds of groups who are essentially maverick rogue groups that are against Western imperialism, like he did with Syria, I think with Assad and so forth. And it's a very, very similar sort of thing that is happening here. And you can see the games because it is never going to be in your face. It is always covert. It is always behind closed doors. The West do not do anything in front of you. It is always going to be behind closed doors. But I mean, listen, it's scary. This is definitely scary because nobody's paying attention to it. That's the reason why it's so scary. Nobody is paying attention to it at all. So I'm glad that that's the reason why I'm making this video so bootleg, you know, quickly with my phone, is that I just wanted to be able to quickly throw something out to you so that you guys can keep tabs on it, read up on it, make sure that you're aware of what is going on over there. Like I said, when I have a little bit more time, I'm going to try and put something together that's a little bit more detailed with the history of the conflicts and how things came to be where they are. But for now, I think it's important that everybody keeps tabs because Before you know it, Ukraine are now going to be supporting going after Captain Traore, directly giving intelligence to people who are going to be attacking all these countries. We can't have that, because this is the same country that people are telling you to support. They're telling you to support Ukraine. So if you're Black or you're African in America or in the United Kingdom or France or Germany, this is the country that those governments are telling you to support and donate money to. The people who are doing this in Africa. What business do they have going to Africa to give anybody intelligence to unalive people? 40-something African troops have now lost their lives, and 80-something Wagner troops have lost their lives because of Ukraine in Africa.
That's crazy.
That's the reality, guys.
Yeah.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
All of that money that they taking out of America that people definitely need, and sending it and washing it and funneling it over to the Ukraine, where those soldiers are walking around with neo-Nazi patches on their uniform and whatnot. You know, those are real Nazis over there. So just pay attention. Taj Tariq Bey said we have to study geopolitics. Okay, this is not a local joker thing anymore. We are living in the internet age. This is geopolitical and whatnot. Spirit told me I need to show this next clip and was like, don't be scared. You know what I mean? The sister is breaking down some information. Let's go.
It's okay to say it. The culprits are Zionist Jews. So a lot of people are speaking to the decolonization process on Earth right now, but they're labeling the cause of the problem as white supremacy and white capital. And this series is here to explain to you that it's not white supremacy or white capital, but Jewish supremacy and Jewish capital. And that's just a fact. I know we've all been conditioned to be afraid to point out the Jew in the room through education and media and various systems that happen to be owned by Zionist Jews, and we'll get to that in another part in this series. But for today, let's discuss who actually controls capital, and then you decide whether you want to keep saying white capital or if you want to call it what it is. So international Jewish bankers that currently own the Fed, I'm reading out of this book, Exposing the Lies of History, Deprogramming 101, Reed T. Sainsbury, great book. Okay, Rothschild, banks of London and Berlin, Lazard Brothers, Bank of Paris, Israel Moses, Seif Banks of Italy, Warburg, Banks of Hamburg, Germany and Amsterdam, Lehman Brothers, Bank of New York, Kuhn Loeb & Co. of Germany and New York, Chase Manhattan, Rockefeller, Bank of New York, Goldman Sachs, Bank of New York. Those are all Zionist Jews. That's the major banks, central banks in the world, are all owned and controlled by actual Zionist Jews. I know they might be white of skin, but deeper than the color of their skin, because everything, I mean, Italians are white, Greeks are white, Romanians are white. What does that even mean? And Jews look white. So let's stop saying white capital and say Jewish capital, because that's the truth. See, if there were a bunch of banks and central money was being used to create wars and genocide, and I wanted to speak about that, and all of those banks were owned by Greeks, I would say the Greek-owned banks. I wouldn't say white capital, I would say Greek capital, because when you trace it all back, all of the banks are owned by Greeks or Jews. That's just how it is. I'm sorry the word Jew makes people feel uncomfortable, but that's the facts here, all right? Now I'm going to read to you a bit out of this book. The Rothschild Bankers, World Puppet Masters. The Jewish Rothschilds Bank of England owns nearly every central bank in the world. Mayer Amschel Bauer, born in Frankfurt, Germany in 1744, followed his father's footsteps as a moneylender. Okay, further down here. Rothschild discovered loaning money to governments and royal families was far more profitable than loaning money to individuals because the loans were substantially larger and secured by the nation's taxes. The clever Rothschilds and banking partners, Warburg-controlled Mendelssohn Bank of Amsterdam and J. Henry Schroeder Bank, financed communist Russia during World War II and Adolf Hitler's Third Reich. While Christians fell victim to Jewish propaganda masters and marched to war to fight and defend their cause while slaughtering each other, the international Jewish bankers fueled both sides of the war with propaganda to make profit, while innocent blood was shed, all in the name of freedom. Harold Rosenthal, an insider Zionist Jew, explained it perfectly. All wars have been white fighting white in order that we maintain our control. Do you understand this now? White fighting white. You keep punting white supremacy, white capital, you are being maneuvered by the puppet masters. We controlled England during the Revolutionary War, the North during the Civil War, and England and America during World War I and II. Through our influence of religion, we were able to involve the ignorant white Christians in war against themselves, which always impoverished both sides while we reaped a financial and political harvest. Anytime truth comes forth which exposes us, we simply rally our forces, the ignorant Christians or white people. Okay. They attack the Crusaders even if they are members of their own families. Right. So Mayer Amschel Rothschild and his wife, Gutel Schnapper, had 5 sons that expanded their banking dynasty to London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples, while maintaining the original Frankfurt base. The Rothschilds are worth more than $500 trillion, and they have 7 business partners who control the US's currency. Okay, so it's not white capital, it's Jewish capital. Okay, and that's just a fact. These Jewish bankers have been interwoven by marriage like a rug. Okay, most Americans think they live in a free country, but when you understand that both sides of every war since Napoleon have been financed by these international bankers, you come to realize how the Rothschild banking cartel has more control than most people realize. Presidents and leaders of countries are merely puppets whose strings are pulled to keep them dancing to their tune. As Harold Rosenthal stated, Americans have not had a presidential choice since 1932. Roosevelt was our man. Every president since Roosevelt has been our man. When a president like Abraham Lincoln refused to borrow money at an astronomical interest rate, 24% to 36%, from these Jewish bankers to finance the Civil War, and chose to print American money for the American public, they had him assassinated. Side note, that's why they also instigated World War II. Adolf Hitler had kicked the Rothschilds and their central banking out of Germany. Okay, that's why they went in there. It was a financial thing. On June 4th, 1963, US President John F. Kennedy signed Executive Order 1110, which returned power to the US government to issue currency without going through the Rothschild-owned Fed. Okay, so your Fed is owned by Jews, Zionist Jews, okay, to take back our country. Unfortunately, less than 6 months later, the Rothschilds had him assassinated for the same reason they killed President Lincoln in 1865. Okay. And then let me just put here, let me read a bit about this before we end. 8 international Jewish bankers are the owners of the phony Fed, set up by the Jew Paul Warburg of Kuhn, Loeb & Co., who used US President Woodrow Wilson as a puppet to sell out the US and sign this corporation into existence in 1913. This gave these foreign, privately owned international bankers complete control of the US economy with the ability to create and regulate US currency. So how are the Jewish money changers handling US money? Since 1913, the dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Since 2008, US national debt has surged nearly 200%, with Americans owing the Rothschild Fed $30 trillion. The US is bankrupt, with interest alone on this enormous debt, $562 billion a year, thanks to Woodrow Wilson for selling us out to the Jewish moneylenders. These 8 very wealthy, all-Jewish international bankers have enough money and power to care not who makes the laws. 6 years after giving complete control of the Fed to Jewish bankers, President Wilson realized he had been duped by stating, "I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country. A great industrial nation is now controlled by its system of credit.
I thought my American Express debt was crazy. She just helped my stress levels. 30 trillion,
We
y'all.
are no longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of a small group of dominant men. That small group of dominant men are Zionist Jews. They're not white. It's not white capital. It's Zionist Jewish capital."
I'm gonna just end that right there. You know what I mean? But she was doing her homework and she shared some information that yes, CRUMB.
I have a little bit of information to add value to what she was saying. So, oh, wrong button. If we look, not this Friday,
Yes.
but next Friday. I shared the wrong thing. Excuse me. But next Friday is Friday the 13th. Well,
when they started that. Okay, so the 13th, Friday the 13th lands in okay, Jason.
Yeah, not exactly within the Jason theme. I'm ready to share a screen now. So she was talking about it's more financially advantageous to loan to governments versus individuals. Where did this practice? Where did the Rothschilds even get this practice from? Because they started in the 1500s. So this started in the 1300s. The Knight Templars were arrested and their property confiscated in France in 1307, and the order was disbanded in 1312. That order went out on Friday the 13th. If you look right here, arrest King Philip IV of France was in debt to the Knights Templars. Knight Templars were disbanded under Sir Francis Bacon. They come back 300, 400, 500 years later. Don't quote me on that. As the Rosicrucians, from the Rosicrucians, they become the Freemasons. But nonetheless, you're going to see where these religious group, because they started off as the Poor Fellows of Christ, you're going to see where these religious groups start lending money. And this is after the Battle of Antioch, where they go and fight their first Christian crusade. And that's where they started that practice of getting money and lending it to the government. And it went horribly wrong. But to those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. The Rothschilds studied this particular part of history because this is the first dabble. This is the Europeans' first initiation into the occult through the Knights of Templars. The Baphomet being nothing more than a reinterpretation of the name Muhammad. Yes. Baphomet is really Mahomet. You can look that up on Encyclopedia Britannica for anybody who doesn't want to go with the Moors, whatever the case may be. But before we end out, I did want to go through a little chronological order of things that you were talking about. So August 19th, because most of these things occur in August, you're going to see that officers will not face charges in the death of Mansar Bal Bey. And that's what he looks like. He's a very clean young man. He was the one who was unalived in the back. I have the article. I'm sorry, the news clips. It's only like 2 minutes, but I'll just go through the history and then I'll play the news clips if that's okay.
It's great. Thank you.
Next, you're going to see on July 8th, 2016. Again, this is Dallas as well. Remember, our brother was in Dallas. Rest in power
Dallas,
to
Texas.
him. Dallas, Texas, jumping like Jordan.
Yes.
So you're going to see another Dallas shooter, Micah Johnson, was a leatherneck, not a leatherneck, but an Army veteran, and what they classified as a loner when he unalived policemen. And if anybody remembers that, they tried to pin that on our elder, my Baba, the original Minister of Information. Shout out to the Minister of Information as well, Professor Griff.
Yes, shout out to Griff.
Shortly after that, this is July 8th, July 17th. Same year. I'm being funny. R. Kelly versus Usher. This is Red suicide note left by Gavin Eugene Long, gunman in deadly Baton Rouge officer shooting in July 16th. This is a couple days. He was a clean young man, another clean, head on straight, knew who he was.
His YouTube name was Cosmo Setenra, and he is an author. He authored a few books. I have one of them. His name was Cosmos Setenra, and he unalived 3 police officers in the name of martyrdom. He said that he was taking the victims of Alton Sterling, Mike Brown, and another brother who was unalived, and he said he was taking them out of the realms of victims into martyrs. So he shed blood in their names, and he turned them into martyrs, and then he was martyred himself.
Put some respect.
You have to put some respect, because we have to be very clear about the intentions of the people who are, because he was also a veteran. These are veterans, y'all. The Mika X, 7 police officers, right? 7. So he also put the names out there and said that I'm tired of seeing our people victimized and nothing happening. I'm taking Harambe, eye for an eye. This is something that they will not put in the media, because they don't want somebody sitting in front of their computers to be quote unquote radicalized.
Correct. August 1st, 2016, 6-hour police standoff. Our sister, rest in power, stood on business. They try to paint a narrative and a picture and a trope and a caricature of us being afraid and scared and blah, blah, blah. And we need the Emancipation Proclamation, no disrespect, but we are not afraid to stand up for our rights. And our sister will go down in history, in herstory, as one of those people who was not afraid. We did touch on her, so I'll keep it moving. December 10th, 2019. Suspect in Jersey City linked to Black Hebrew Israelites. Shout out to all my Black Hebrew Israelites. The Black Hebrew Israelites have been labeled as a 8 group. The suspect wrote anti-Semitic and anti-police posts, and officials said. That's subjective. I don't believe that that's what they wrote, but
This was a setup, right? There's mad holes in this one.
Absolutely. And I have the footage that I'll play in just a second. August 23rd, 2023, we back into August again. Just like my big bro Red was just saying, this is my land. I'm a Moor, quote unquote, according to Atlanta Black Star. Pennsylvania man fatally shot in eviction showdown in his family's home. After hours-long gun battle with cops, reportedly believed he was a sovereign citizen, is what they love to accuse us of being, even though he had no ties with that. That's more of, I'm not going to go there. August 29th, 2024 is when our brother shows up on the scene again in Dallas. So we're going to see most of these happening in August. Something about August that really inspires our people to say, I can't take any more. With that said, I'll go through the news clips unless you want it to go a different direction. You can just unmute that.
13. He's arrested 4 times in the state of Ohio. That's from May of 09 to September of 09. And it's robbery and misdemeanor theft. His corrections data, he does a 2-year prison term in Georgia from August 2011 to July. Expressed any radicalization at all. This is a Muslim family. He's had DeKalb counties, 4-month, 30-day, and 8 months for various crimes. We're told by family members that he's never expressed any radicalization at all. This is a Muslim family. He's had, his mother goes on to state he had a very troubled childhood and was often violent. Mother expressed
Not sure if you're speaking, but you're muted as well, brother.
Oh Lord, I didn't even realize that. Okay, my bad. So this case right here is a peculiar case. This is our Ishmael Brinsley. He came from Baltimore and he took a bus to New York City and he unalived two NYPD officers, an Asian one and I believe a Hispanic one. And he said that he did it to martyr um, Eric Gardner and Michael Brown. Okay. And the way that this thing works, when you have, I know people have altars. It said that if you have certain of these victims on your altar, or if you have them on a mural, when they become martyrs, they take martyrs into war. Let's just say that. Like they'll take a martyr, like when the Russian army or the German army, when they went into war, they would fly the flags of the saints, right? The saints usually are martyrs. They died for the cause. So when your blood is shed and you're martyred, right? When somebody spills blood in your name to avenge you, you are now an entity. You're more powerful. That's what the drill rappers do. They're martyrs. Okay, they're martyring their homies. That's why there's a level of honor amongst people getting revenge for their loved ones. It is an age-old story. It's called the Asaurian tale. It's the Asaurian tale. So a victim doesn't have nowhere near the amount of power that a martyr has. You're just a victim. Nobody is spinning the block for you. Nobody cares about you. They're marching for you, but they didn't even the score for you. When you become a martyr, if I put you on my altar, I could summon you to put in work for me now. And I'm gonna just leave it at that because we on YouTube, and I ain't finna be on YouTube giving away all of this information. But that's what happened. Ishmael came into New York. There's a lot of these people who we call victims of police brutality, but we should change it to martyrs of police brutality. Get the English correct. You know what I'm saying? Get the verbiage correct, because you're calling them victims and they've been martyred, so they're not victims anymore. Summon them. Because as soon as they clap for them, the marches had stopped. The white people was like, we ain't coming out, because they're not going to push martyrs, and they'll push a victim, but they will not march for a martyr. Hell to the nah. They know the power of that. They're summoning, they're feeding when it's a victim, all of the Europeans and these spellcasters and these wizards and warlocks, they have these huge marches. You'd be like, damn, how did they arrange that march so fast? Nigga, because they're spirit cooking. They're having that march, but they're feeding off of your tears. They're feeding off of your fears. They're feeding off of all of that stuff because you're crying over a victim. But the minute some blood spill on that side, they can't do the march no more, because they'll be going against. They can't feed off of that. That's some shit that now you could do. You could beat drums and you could burn flat. You could burn a torch. And you could march through the street. They can't be a part of that. Can't be a part of that. So just understand what you're seeing when you see it. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. Do you have any last words that you want to share with the family?
I am your humble brother CRUMB, the master student. I am humbled, honored, and grateful for the alignment with Know the Ledge, with my good brother Red, with all of the family, the listening audience, and those who are going to catch this later. I want to give you high honors and perfect praise. I am grateful. Your humble brother, the master student.
Indeed, my good brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for pulling up and and adding on. I feel that we have a lot more to talk about in this situation, in this conversation. I'm willing to dig deeper into it and go go somewhere where we could really speak our mind, because right now we're walking on eggshells and we tippy-toeing through the tulips on YouTube. But we do have more information for y'all. We will be doing more research. We will be digging a lot more tonight on Black Magic 363. my good brother Sharif Anail Bey will be addressing this case as the national spokesman for the MSTA. He's going to be speaking from that perspective. So I will be tuned in to hear what the brother has to say so he could clear up any misconceptions and, you know, put the information out there. But we will be following up with you with more information based off of the conversations that we had tonight. And with that being said, we'll end this with the 44 Tops, the Facts remix featuring the 44 Tops. You dig? Love and light to the family. We have some announcements for some events coming up in New York City with me and Blue. We'll keep y'all updated about that. Stay tuned to Third Eye Thursdays. We will be giving you all of the sauce then. All right, my good brother. Peace, CRUMB. Peace to CRUMB. Peace to the CRUMB TV family. Peace to the KT aliens. Peace.
Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Facts. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red and blue, purple light, friends. Facts. You can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. We gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Red, blue, purple light, bring it back. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Facts. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red and blue, purple light, friends. Facts. You can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. We gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you, and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.